Welcome to Braunhaven. We're going to be picking up where we left off 2 weeks ago. We took last week off. Brian was out of town, and these guys are fighting catoblepus, so they didn't catoblepi. There's more than one. I don't know how that's pronounced, but they are in mid combat, and with the catoblepus's ability to look at somebody and cause them to have to make a death save, they were fearful, and so they decided to take the weekend off. But we are back, and we will be picking up at the top of the round with Borman's turn. And before we get started, we'd like to thank a friend of the Greenwater Guildhall. None of these are sponsorships or partnerships of any kind. They are just products that we really like. We'd like to thank Fable Beard Company. Fable Beard makes wonderful beard products such as oils, balms, butters, co-wash, and beard wash. They have they've changed the name of the co-wash to beard conditioner, which is really a more appropriate. I don't know where they came up with the idea of co-wash. I don't know what that. I guess conditioner wash. I don't know, but they just call it beard conditioner now if you're searching for it online. And they have a plethora of different scents, and each of those scents is based on a fantasy character. Today I am wearing Dr. Wolf's beard butter. It is a beard butter is a kind of a light waxy mix that is kind of a put in and leave on conditioner. It softens your beard, has a mild hold to it, and Dr. Wolf smells of fresh blueberries and a light pipe tobacco. It is quite a cologne type scent. They have a ton of different ones. I recommend going through their entire list, finding one that a profile that fits you. And they do have a buy one get one free for first time purchasers. If you go to fablebeardco.com and create an account, you can put 2 beard oils into your cart. Now, I believe it's 2 products, or beard oil and another product. And when you check out, if you use the code FIRST in all capital letters, you will get that second beard oil for free. We also have a merch store via Zazzle. We've got hoodies and t-shirts and buttons. The hoodies have the black and white sketches of the characters from today's game. Except for Peppermint. I haven't added Peppermint yet. We have also got a Greenwater Whiskey Rocks glass and beer stein. The beer stein actually makes a really good coffee mug. And we've got a number of other items. 100% of the proceeds from that shop goes directly back into our channel. Helps pay for things like the Incarnate Pro subscription or the Roll20 subscription. It also helped us pay for the yearly subscription to Filmora, or Wondershare Filmora, which is the software we use for creating these videos. So if you want to help us out and make ends meet, go get yourself a t-shirt and a Whiskey Rocks glass, and we hope you enjoy everything that we do, and we appreciate everything you do for us. So, the big thing for starting this week is I'm going to implement the optional rules from Old School Essentials for Ascending Armor class. So, what that means for you and your characters. So, find it. Got a handout. And I am doing this with this campaign and my home campaign as well, so it's not like I'm picking on just you guys. I'm not. It's not a bad thing at all, and I will explain my reasoning. So this is essentially what this whole thing means. So, ascending AC. In the message I had sent you guys on Facebook Messenger, I had calculated it a little bit wrong. So, if you have, let's see, if you look at the THAC0 attack matrix, the attack table, line 19, the second line, is closest. It is correct all the way up to AC 0, 0 being 19, -1 would be 20. Oh, I guess it's correct up to -1. -2 would be 21, and -3 would be 22. So the way this works, if you look at your the first thing to do is you need to calculate your armor class. So your armor class is whatever armor you are wearing plus your dexterity modifier. So if you're not sure, you can tell me what kind of armor you're wearing, and I will tell you what the AC is. Generally, when you look at that on a chart, it is going to show the ascending AC in the brackets next to it. So, for instance, leather armor is 7, and in brackets it says 12. So that would make your armor class 12 plus your AC. So if you had plus your dex. So if you had a +1 to dexterity, you were wearing leather armor, you would have a armor class of 12, or I'm sorry, armor class of 13, because 12 plus 1 for your dex is 13. If you then add a shield to that, a shield gives you another +1, that would make your armor class 14. So the reason for doing this is, and I know a lot of people, especially the old schoolers on X, keep insisting, oh, the attack matrix is just the best way to go. After having done this for almost 2 years, I don't agree with that. I like it. Don't get me wrong, but ascending armor class is just faster because after every attack, you don't have to bother looking at the chart. You just tell me what you rolled. It's your D20 plus your strength or dex modifier, depending on what you're doing, and plus any magical benefits from the weapon. And you tell me what the total number is. And if it is equal to or higher than the armor class shown on the monster, you hit, and you just roll your damage. It's really that simple. So, first thing, I'm sure I'm sure you can figure this out, but I will just go through it anyways. What kind of armor is Borman wearing?
+1 plate.
So plate armor.
+1 shield.
So plate armor is normally a armor class of 16 at +1. That makes it 17. And a +1 shield, 17, 18, 19. So, yeah, that would be 19 plus your dex modifier.
+3.
So your armor class would be 22 with plate armor.
Yep, that's what I got. And
then
Malachi turns the AC 5 into AC 14.
Correct. All right. How about Cameron? What is Mavis wearing? I want to say that Mavis is wearing plate.
If I was +1 female, or yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So +1 chainmail would be armor class 15. Is she using a shield?
It's scale mail. Is that the same as female?
Oh, she's wearing +1 scale mail?
That's what I've written down.
Okay. So that would be +1 scale mail would be armor class 14. Is she using a shield?
Yes.
And is that a +1, +2?
+2.
Okay. So with a +2 shield, that makes her armor class 17.
Perfect.
And then what about Alora?
She doesn't have armor. She has bracers.
Okay.
And I think her ring of protection or something.
So her armor class would be 10 plus her dex modifier. And then what kind of bracers are those?
Bracers of armor.
Are they +1, +2?
Bracers grant an AC of 8 minus 1d4 or 11 plus 1d4. So I don't know.
Let's see here. Here they are. Oh. Do you remember if we ever rolled the d4?
I don't know, actually.
Hey, look at that. You lucked out because that is
Yeah.
a 4. So, your armor class. Wait a minute. It's that.
That's
You
a
see,
15, right?
11 plus 4
Oh,
granted by each pair of bracers is fixed. So that would make her armor class 15. 11
excellent.
plus 4. So.
That's really good.
And Brian, so what is Dentry wearing?
Full plate +1.
So full plate plus 1. Full plate normally has an armor class 17. Plus 1 makes it 18. Is he using a shield?
+2 shield.
Okay, so normally a shield is plus 1. Plus 2 makes it a total of plus 3 to armor class. So, see here.
And then I have the Ring of Protection,
And that's a plus
which
1.
gives me a 1 AC. Yeah, it usually gives me a +1.
Okay, so that gives you armor class 22. Plus whatever your
22.
dex modifier is.
For him, there's no modifier, but I'll. All right, so AC 22.
And then what about Jackson?
Yo, Jackson. All right, Jackson has +1 chain.
So chain is normally 14. Plus 1 makes it 15. Is he using a shield?
+3 shield.
Plus 3. Shit. That makes it 19 armor class.
Got the Ring of Protection.
And a ring of protection makes it 20.
And then -1 for dex.
And -1 for dex, so back to 19.
That was why he had the +3 shield. He was like, yeah, that whole.
So the next part of this, with ascending armor class, is that you don't need to bother with your character's THAC0 anymore. It's basically you're going to look at it one time when you reach that particular level, and then not look at it again for anywhere from 3 to 4 levels, depending on your class. And the reason for that is that instead of having to look up your THAC0 on the chart and cross-reference what you rolled, instead you're just going to add your attack modifier. So this is your base to hit modifier. So starting with Wes. What is Borman's THAC0?
14, which is +5.
Correct. So you get a +5 base to hit modifier, and it doesn't matter whether you're doing melee or doing dex or doing a ranged dex-based attack. You always add +5 to your attack. What is Malachi's?
17,
So
which
he's
I
got
think is
he's
+3.
got
Isn't it?
+2. So when you make an attack, let's say you're swinging a sword. You swing a sword. It is sword or D20 plus your strength modifier plus your base to hit plus whatever magical abilities that the sword has. And that is your 2 hit with that particular weapon. Cameron, what is Mavis's THAC0?
17.
So at THAC0 17, she has a +2 for her base to hit.
Mhm.
And what about Allura?
All my characters are exactly 17. So they
Okay,
all work
so
up to.
it's +2 for all of them.
Okay.
Oh, we didn't do. I forgot about Peppermint. What's Peppermint?
Okay, I think I got the conversion
Okay,
things there, I think, yeah.
okay. And so what is Dentry's THAC0? He's 14.
Tree's 14.
So he's got a +5 base to hit. And
And then his strength would make it a 7.
I'm sorry?
So then it'd be +5 base to hit, and then +2 for his strength on strength stuff, right?
Correct. So his melee would be +7, not including bonuses from the weapon.
Okay.
And what about Jackson?
Jackson is also Thaco 14.
So he's got a +5 base to hit.
Okay. And then +1 for his strength on melee.
And
then
-1 from Dex for ranged.
Right. Okay.
And that really is all there is to this.
So same thing for the Warp Beast, just base 5 to attack.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. In fact, the stats for the Warp Beast should show if you let's see here. Yeah. So here is the stat block for the Warp Beast, and if you look at this, it says, Thaco 14 in brackets. It says +5. There's the base attack or base 2 hit. So yeah, it's all right there. AC, it shows AC 4 brackets 15, so her AC is 15.
Is there any barding or stuff like that for a Warp Beast?
There's no reason there couldn't be. I mean, I've got barding for horses and dogs.
Next time we're in a town, we'll visit that then. Don't have to worry about it now.
Yeah, I would say yes. I mean, if there's barding for a dog, there's no reason you can have barding for a big tentacly cat. So there are multiple reasons why I decided to implement these optional rules. The first reason, like I said, is I really believe it will speed up the game. Number 2, because you're not checking the chart every attack, and that it doesn't take that long, but it is tedious, and the tedium, believe it or not, drags down the game. It just does. Number 2, it's easier for a lot of players to jump into the game, because if you've played anywhere from 3rd edition to 3.5 to 4th edition to 5th edition to Pathfinder or any other modern role-playing game, they all use Ascending Armor class. And it's just easier for players to roll the dice, add the numbers, and tell me the number. That's it. It's done. It just makes life easier. Number 3, this is a theory I have. I think it's a suspicion, but I think, so if you guys have noticed, a lot of times you will be in a combat. What I have noted with old school essentials, and of course, as referee, I can, of course, massage some of these numbers, but generally, the game is skewed towards the player characters. So you get a bonus for your strength, you get a bonus for your dex, you get a bonus for magical weapons. The catoblepus gets jack. It doesn't get any bonuses. It's a raw d20 roll, and it crosses its fingers and hopes to hit. I suspect that switching to ascending AC and to hit bonus is going to not necessarily balance, but it's going to make it a more even playing field, possibly. And then the last part, and this one is pretty huge. So with the second campaign, which I'm already far deeper into planning than I intended to get. It's kind of a rabbit hole. The second campaign, we are going to be moving towards the Castles and Crusades rule set. Now, this will make that transition way smoother, because a couple of things happens when you do this. When you go to Ascending AC, now all of a sudden, and if you're from my side, you can almost do the math in your head. It makes life a lot quicker because you understand both sides of it. By doing this, you can use monsters from far many more editions than you can using just the Thaco system and Descending AC. So that opens up the number of monsters that are available. It also makes backward engineering some characters into the new system almost a drop-in fit. So the only thing that will be, and we'll worry about that later, the only thing that will be left really to learn about that system is the new style of saving throws, which really all of you have played 5th edition, so there's really it's not going to be any kind of shock to you, because all the saving throws are based off of your attributes anyway. So it's just basically an attribute check. So moving forward, that'll make this transition a lot easier. So, anyways, so I mean that's all there is to that. So, let me bring up my catoblepi. Borman, it is your turn at the top. I believe this is probably round 3. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna attack.
All right.
Does a 21 hit?
Yes, it does.
I think I'm gonna give him 10 points of damage.
Okay, so you reach out and disembowel the catoblepus. Did you want to
Well,
move
then
at all?
I might as well. Right over there. I'm gonna go ahead and go get in his face.
All right. What's Malachi gonna do?
Malachi's gonna roll 3d6 plus 3 as he casts magic missile.
Okay.
And Malachi's gonna give him 16 points of damage.
Oh.
Malachi cannot move because he casts a spell.
Correct. So, man, those 3 magic missiles slam into this catoblepus and really do a number on him. He is the catoblepus is slammed and just kind of teetering back and forth. What's Peppermint gonna do? Actually, before Peppermint does something, let me. He makes the catoblepus makes his morale check. So, what's Peppermint up to?
Gonna shove her way in if we need to, and then get an arrow.
Okay.
With the longbow. With the longbow.
That's gonna hit. See, we switched to ascending AC, and you're doing better already. You didn't roll a 2. Okay, and so this arrow streaks out and slams into the catoblepus forehead and drops the catoblepus.
Good work.
I don't
We
know.
didn't get another chance to death stare us. That's good.
Right. Yes. Well, and the catoblepus rolled really, really terrible initiative. Okay. So these 3 guys were worth a shit. And you get some rolls here. Let's see. Take the 1, 2, 3. You get 6 rolls. Who wants to make the first percentage check?
Okay.
All right, do it.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely two.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that ain't nothing. You get 1,000 electrum pieces. This is kind of like a mating nest.
1,000 electron.
Are there 3 bodily fluids in it?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was just saying it might be kind of gooey in there.
Yes.
So,
Yes. These electrum pieces are all sticky.
Well, we have this river we can wash off in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
One at a time, 1,000 of them.
Yeah, 1,000. Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure each one is scrubbed individually. Who wants to make the next percentage roll?
I mean, I didn't get a magic missile the way that someone did. So I feel
35.
like that's a good roll.
35 is nothing. Third roll.
Now you have
Final.
to do it. Yeah.
How dare you?
Damn.
99 is definitely nothing.
What happens when you make your roll?
Fourth roll.
No.
Oof, no. Fifth roll.
That's me.
45 is nothing. And last roll.
Fine. I will do the thing. Huzzah!
29
Huzzah?
is 1,000 silver pieces.
It's something.
Yeah.
Get some EXP.
Nice.
Okay. So, you ran into these catoblepus as you were tromping through a marshy area of the Sylvanas Forest, and you ran into them before you set up camp, which is good. They didn't interrupt your sleep, and you're able to get a good night's sleep. So you can memorize spells. You can get back 1d6 hit points for rest because you have Allura with you. If anybody needs to do healing before you bed down, you can do that.
Actually, pretty good healing.
I had minor damage that is gone now.
You're on quite the murder spree there. You're getting harmed very seriously.
Okay.
So do we want to go north again now?
You certainly
yeah.
can, yeah.
Aren't we just headed on northy,
I can't
north,
remember what he had me
north?
rolling. Was it to D6 to not get lost?
Man, 2 weeks and I don't even remember what I wrote. Let's see here. It's yeah, go ahead and roll a d6. You want to roll high. Nope.
3 is not high.
So you...
Doesn't the ranger get special shit for the woods?
He's not an elf.
Oh.
Well, that was his mistake.
Mystical woods.
You travel to the east. Well, yeah, you end up traveling east for a day. Well, half day.
I didn't realize I was living life wrong.
Jackson, you can roll another d6. Okay, so Jackson discovers that they have become lost and travels half the day east and then 1 day north.
Hey, y'all, sorry about that. We're going the wrong way, but we're back on track now.
And you're able to camp again for the night. And nothing invades you. You do note that one of the strange effects of the Sylvanas Forest, when Jackson discovered that you were traveling in the wrong direction, basically he was able to look up and find a peek through of the forest canopy and see the sky and realize, wait, that's the sun's in the wrong spot. We're going the wrong way. But looking back behind you, the entire landscape of the forest has changed. There's no tracks, there's no trail, there's no way to determine that you had even walked through there. Everything was different. You can make another d6 roll. Oh yeah.
You lost.
I assume you're trying to still go north.
They're trying.
This time, this time, you can make another d6 roll for half day,
Okay.
and you're still lost. But you got a lucky. And you do start to go north. Now, Jackson can make a tracking check. Hmm. Holy shit, does he fail that? Like, wow.
It's not
Jackson,
your fault. It's magical.
yes, Jackson has no idea where he's at. Yeah, you guys bed down for the night. There is no randomness that happens. You're able to get a good night's sleep and wake up the next morning refreshed. Which way are you going, Jackson?
I think I'm going north.
You want to continue going north?
Or northeast. Or east.
Okay.
We're trying to get to this thing, right?
Yeah, that would probably be the assumption. Go ahead and roll a d6.
Okay, so here's to going northeast. Did it roll? It did not roll. Nah.
Well, God damn it, you're lucky. So you travel and Jackson, as the party is kind of tromping through this heavy, thick forest, a comment is made, are we there yet? and Jackson's like, I'm gonna be honest, don't know where the fuck we are. I'm completely lost. But you do come to the bank of a river, but you can immediately determine that this is not the same river, or it's a tributary. It's not the same river that you started traveling up, because this is a much smaller river. If each one of these hexes is 6 miles, this river is maybe 3 miles wide. But you do find that across this river there is a small that you find a somebody's built a ferry,
Yeah.
and there is a long rope that is draped in the water that goes through metal iron rings on this ferry to cross this river.
I mean, it's probably safer just to let Mavis walk and ride Alora's broom.
You could do it that way, yeah.
What happened to my horse with its water walking horseshoes?
Yeah, you could. You could do that.
I didn't remember that at all.
Well, doesn't Mavis have the ring?
You have the ring of water walking, and you got a broom that you can take people across with. You can move us all across without disturbing the ferry.
Yeah, I think that. Well, fuck around and you start using modes of transportation without knowing the price, and
Yeah.
So you guys take a little bit of time. Honestly, it probably doesn't take you. It probably takes you about the same amount of time to do it this way, or maybe just a little bit less time to do it this way, of ferrying people back and forth with the broom and your water walking abilities, than it would to be, pulling yourself across the river and fighting the current. But you guys get to the other side. Jackson, you can make another tracking check, and you get a -10 to this. Ooh, so that makes it an 8.
This time I'm paying attention.
Yes, so You find once you get on the other side of the river, you do find that there is a pair of, I guess, not a pair. There is kind of a half moon type trail, like a half circle. One leads off to the north and then kind of swoops to the east, and the other leads off to the east and kind of swoops to the east. The one to the east, or the eastern trail, uh, looks like it is more heavily trafficked.
Okay.
That's a
Oh,
good
Well,
sign.
hey,
It means there's probably
east is
people.
the way to go.
okay. Which means I need to bring up another El Mapo. Because all of that's going to mean exactly dick. Oh, and before I do that, go over here and copy and paste you guys. Waiting, waiting. There we go. Getting y'all ready here. Okay. So following this path, you come into what looks to be a small village. And you see that there's a number of people kind of wandering around. This, like I said, this is a typical little village inhabited. And the
There,
people that you see wandering around are all elves.
Are they surprised to see us? Do they see us yet?
Yeah, they notice you. They are not. They don't seem overly surprised or shocked or alarmed.
Well, that's good.
So this road that you're on, you see that there are a number of ruts in the road from wagons, and it seems to this road goes all the way back around through another portion of the forest. But at the end of the road, there is this large bridge that crosses this river, and on this side, you see, like I said, there's this small uh, village, and you can see that this village is actually. Uh, you're not looking at like huts or peasant stuff. This is actually a really nice village. Maybe more along the lines of like maybe a small suburb, like a neighborhood. And over here, you see that there is what appears to be an inn or tavern. And up here, you see that there is a rather large manor house. Now, as you have been coming into this village, you can see that throughout a number of areas in the forest, there are either areas that may have been cleared at one time, and somehow, from what you have experienced in the forest, somehow they are keeping them cleared, which seems to be nigh impossible from what you've experienced. But there is a plethora of farms that are around this area, and all of these farms, you do note that a couple of them seem to have gone fallow, just overrun with weeds. But a majority of these farms are active, and they are producing different grains and vegetables, corn, all sorts of stuff in these cleared areas. But the villagers, as you come in, you see a number of them moving around the village, and they don't seem overly shocked to see you, or any. They're not. They seem friendly. Like a couple of times, somebody will wave to you. But all of you can make a wisdom ability check. So you want to roll under your wisdom score.
Oh,
Yeah. I think
No.
Borman and Malachi accidentally poked their own eyes out.
Mavis and Aurora made it.
Okay. What about how did Dentry and Jackson both got a 14 and
Absolutely
18?
not.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely not.
So Mavis and Alora, you see that these people seem to be friendly, but Mavis and Alora make a couple of distinctions, or notice a couple of things. For one, the people all look tired, like worn out, and two, some of them seem to be a little bit jittery and fearful. Not of you, though. They look like people who may not have gotten a lot of sleep over a long period of time.
I wonder if that weird weed pollen stuff is making them all crazy. Maybe it's something else. We'll have to ask around.
What would you guys like to do from here?
Malachi speaks Elvish.
Yeah.
So he will, yeah, well, greet them.
Okay.
Ask them why they look so damn tired. Well, he doesn't notice.
Right, yeah, he's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll point it out.
Never seen elves with bags under their eyes before.
Yeah.
They could barely be fashion models. They look so tired.
So Borman is going to interact with some of these people or introduce himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greetings, friends. We've traveled a long way to visit you and give you season's greetings and glad tidings.
And this elf says, "Oh, welcome to the village of Southbridge. We are just on the outskirts of the high elf capital city of Derzwadalek, which you can reach by traveling along this road and crossing the southern bridge. But welcome. You came to the town at an unfortunate time."
Sorry.
Why do you say that?
Yeah. Why is what's unfortunate?
There's a number of foul things happening in our good village. I personally believe that it's that damnable Asanya Ashrin. You know, we believe she cavorts with devils.
Mm,
Well, we were definitely people were competent enough to get to the bottom of that. If perhaps you could point us to a place that would possibly be interested in buying high-end rugs.
He says, "Well, there's always possibilities for that." He says, "But you think that you might be the ones that could help us investigate that darnable Asanya Ashran, huh? Well, probably the best place to get your bearings would be the Vagabond Ferry Tavern." And he points over to this building over here.
But we are not vagabonds. We are able to pay our way.
Oh no! It's just a tongue-in-cheek name. The place is run by Askell Ininor, and it is kind of a gathering place for the locals. He's probably got more information for you. Pretty much what you see in this town. The reason why it's so built up and the farms are producing again is because the lord of the town, Lord Nayaris, he made a deal and purchased up all of the fallow farms from the Guild of Housing and Development. And you see the High Elven Council, the Council of Elders, they made all these promises about reintegrating with the Wood Elves and bringing them back into the fold. But then they just never really followed through on it. So a lot of this farmland that was supposed to be meant to go to half elves or to wood elves, it ended up going fallow. And so Lord Nayaris came in. He's a wealthy merchantman. Don't you know? He has business interests all the way over in Orentis. In fact, he just recently returned. Anyways, he came back and he purchased up all this farmland. And many of us suspect that he did this to get the will of the people on his side, and in order to get a seat on the Council of Elders. But really, if that's what he wants, more power to him. We're the ones that are benefiting from it. So really, he and his family are the ones to talk to about investigating anything in the town. But I really I suggest going to the Vagabond Ferry and getting some more information.
Do they speak common there, or is this like a Elvish only town? Some of my friends are less languagey than I am. They probably have a better word to use than I did.
He says, no, there many people here speak common as well. You should be able to communicate.
Well, thank you for your time. If you would like to come in, perhaps could buy you some wine.
Oh, I would very much appreciate that. I would be happy to join you, and I can make introductions for you.
That just sounds wonderful.
So, here. Okay.
You all know why Barbie can't get pregnant?
Why?
Because Ken comes in a different box.
So you guys come into the Vagabond Ferry Tavern, and it does have a second floor, although it is not an inn. This is strictly a tavern. The second floor is actually a living residence for the owner. Why did that just give me a page? So there's this candle-lit tap room. You note that the Vagabond Ferry doesn't have a lot of windows, but it is a fairly clean place. And their entire length of the bar is a tree trunk that has been sawed in half lengthways, and then is sitting up on these barrels. And it's been sanded and is smooth. And there's kegs of wine behind the bar, and there's a large keg of probably something wine, maybe ale, that is sitting on the bar itself. And you see that behind the bar is a man that your farmer friend has pointed out to you and tells you that he says that's Askal Inanwar. He's the owner of the Vagabond Ferry. And you see that Askal is actually talking to another elf at the bar, and this other elf seems to be fairly well dressed, wearing a, for all intents and purposes, like an elvish take on like a Victorian style suit. And he seems to be some kind of businessman, but he seems rather down and out. And you overhear Askell kind of hands over a small pouch of coins and says, here's the month's rent. Please make sure to thank your father-in-law for me. You have any? How have you been making out?" He asks. And the other elf says, and he looks disheveled and downtrodden. He says, "Well, some days are easier than others. You have my apologies for taking so long in the grieving process. Asania was my entire world." And you see the owner, Askell, pours a pint of what looks to be mead, and he hands it to this other elf. He says, "Oh, no apologies are necessary, friend. Have this on the house. It may solve your problems, but it might make you feel a bit better." And he looks up to see you as you enter, and he says, "Oh, welcome to the Vagabond Ferry. What can I get for you?"
Hot cup of gossip. I just overheard her. We want ale, right? Or wine? What will we buy?
Well, I thought elves were the whinies, so
Yeah, they've got wine and mead for the most part. There are some ales. They're usually like a very light ale.
I guess we're gonna drink wine, even though Dentry says that his dwarven brew would kick the shit out of anything you guys have.
So it's 1 gold piece per pint of wine. That's a pint of wine. That's a lot of fucking wine. But yes, 1 gold piece per pint.
I mean,
or 1 gold piece per pint of mead.
Platinum piece ought to buy us all around then.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, Mormon will toss a platinum piece on the damn counter.
Okay, and so Askell pours everybody, including your farm friend, a pint, and you can smell some delicious, food cooking from the tavern. He's got a smells like there's probably a stew that he sells for 5 silver pieces, and the farmer that you brought in says, "Oh, these kind people are new to the town. In fact, I would imagine they're probably new to the city of Derzwadalek. I don't." He looks around your group and he goes, "Really, quite honestly, it's amazing that they made it here at all. They don't have any elven folk or fey kind in their entire group." And
we did kill all those drow.
Are you going to bring that up?
Yeah, we did kill all those drow. They had a map, kind of.
Oh, well, you're going to be considered saviors. The Council of Elders has been wanting to deal with the drow for quite some time. They've been a bit of a problem, you see. And
we are savior material.
The downtrodden elf introduces himself, and his name is Kirill Triskellin. And he says, "Oh, I apologize. You probably overheard." And you note that he's wearing all dark colors. This fine suit that he's wearing is of a black and a very dark purple nature. And he says, "Please apologize my demeanor. I'm in mourning. My wife Asanya recently died." And he just kind of hangs his head.
Oh, dang.
Oh, damn. Oh, how long ago did he die? We have options.
He says, well, unfortunately, she's already been interred. This was some weeks ago, and I really should be over the period of mourning, but it is rare in this world that you find one in an elevated station such as myself to be allowed to marry for love rather than position. And truly, my dear Asanya married far beneath her station. But we were in love, and that seemed to be all that mattered for us. 6 months ago, shortly after her father's return, my dearest Asanya went missing. We searched for a week and we were unable to track her. Finally, we found her body hanging from a tall branch in a tree from her own, and he kind of trails off and begins to sob. It's clear that Kirill was the one who found his wife's body. And the farmer that you came in with, kind of he's standing next to Borman. He kind of nudges Borman in the ribs, and he leans over and whispers into Borman's ear, and he goes, "He found her hanging from the tree by her own entrails. Devil worshipper. She's a devil worshipper." But he doesn't say it loud enough for Kirill to hear.
Well, we definitely should try to get to the bottom of this. It seems like every town we go to has something amiss when we come in. It's almost like the gods set that up for us to solve.
So Askel tells you, he says, well, at the time that they had found her, we had assumed, there was the assumption that she had fallen victim to some prey from the forest. If you made your way all the way here through this mystical forest, then it's for sure that you've seen some of the wildlife, and it can be quite the dangerous place. There was assumptions that it may have been a warp beast, and he kind of eyes Mira, Mira's just sitting there, behaving herself, but he kind of looks out of the corner of his eye at Mira, and he openly states, Askel says, he says, he openly says it wasn't, it just didn't look like the kill of a wild animal. And Kirill tells you, he says that Asanya's father, Nyaris Ashran, who is considered to be Lord of Southbridge, although it's not an official position, said that he had just returned from a prolonged business trip to Orentis. He says at first he seemed jubilant to be back home, but it soon seemed that he had picked up some peculiar habits while he was away. He's been seen talking to someone that isn't really there. He often references to her, in quotes, to other people, and he says this behavior has seemed to get worse since Asanya's death. I kind of attribute it to a compounding mental illness that may have been brought on by a long sea voyage to Orentis. And of course, it would have been made much worse by Asanya's death, since she was his only daughter. It was believed that Asanya's death was a singular event at first, but later other villagers in Southbridge have gone missing, and some have been found dead in a very similar manner. The city watch has been notified over in Derswadelek, yet their investigations have turned up really nothing. Rangers they suspect a new creature may have entered from the Fey realm and may be stalking the forest, but they're at a loss to explain it as well. It's rumored that the master of the hunt, Dalier Ielstina, is going to personally become involved in the investigation. And but Kirill looks at you and he says, "I would welcome any assistance that you may be able to give, and I would like to invite you to Ashran Manor tonight to discuss the options. We're having a dinner and meeting at my father-in-law's manor in order to discuss moving forward and how to do this." And
Sounds good.
Askell says that he's been suspicious of the idea that this has been perpetrated by some wild fey creature. He says that I, for one, can see the lack of feeding on the remains, and the point, and he points out that Asania's body appeared to have been staged. It seems to have been true of the other bodies that were found as well. A wild animal from the Fey realm, whether it's from the Fey realm or not, will feed on its kill, and there are very few that will kill simply for sport. He says bumble lions sometimes kill for sport, but usually they are going to feed on whatever they kill. And he says that he may not he may not say so directly. He kind of pulls aside Jackson and kind of whispers in Jackson's ear. He says that I admit that most of the villagers agree with me that there is something more insidious at work here. As to the nature of Nayaris Ashrin's apparent mental illness, Askell is truly saddened by the state that Lord Nayaris has appeared in. Lord Nayaris is much beloved in the community, and everyone is rather worried about his poor state. That by the way that Nayaris talks about his imaginary friend, he surmises that Nayaris may believe he is actually talking to his deceased daughter, or even perhaps his long-dead wife. In either case, Nayaris is a sad sight to behold, and he says it's truly a difficult time. He says, you know, the dinner at Ashran Manor isn't until later tonight, but he says it's a delicate matter, but you might want to attend the funeral that's going on just up the road, if you want to pay your respects. And he says, but like I said, it's a delicate time, so maybe be careful with whatever questions you may ask.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to attend the funeral?
Yeah, we can go to the funeral. That sounds fun.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the farmer tells you, says, thank you for the cup of wine, and I will see you tonight at Ashran Manor. Many of us in the village are going to be there. And he kind of trots off, and you see that Kirill leaves. It appears that all of these businesses and properties in town all pay a monthly rent to the Ashran family. Lord Nayaris essentially bought up all of the land in the area and has poured tons of his own money into renovating it. And the people are perfectly happy with paying him rent. And because he is basically making all of their lives better. And so Kirill is going around the town collecting his dues. But if you're going to go to the funeral, we can make that happen.
That's what it seems. I mean, if you all want to investigate shit before we go to the funeral tonight, you know.
Well, the funeral's happening right now. Ashran Manor is tonight.
Oh yeah, okay. Well then, yeah, I'd like to go view the body.
Okay.
Yeah. And all the people that show up and stuff.
Yeah.
So you come up into this area in the forest that has been kind of dug out. Mavis, you can make a intelligence ability check. So roll under your.
Yeah, Mavis is a cleric. Do you have speak with
Actually,
dead or anything?
and actually, Malachi can do it too.
I rolled below my intelligence.
All right. Ah,
Hey,
so both Mavis and Malachi, everybody kind of notes. If you look around this cemetery, I mean, it's just out in a small clearing in the forest, but everybody notes that there is very few actual graves. And Mavis and Malachi know that elves of the old faith didn't actually inter their their dead into the ground. The original elves that came here from the Fey realm, they actually did funeral pyres, and the reason for that is that the elves, whether it's just a religious belief or not, nobody quite knows. But the elves believe that they are reincarnated in the Fey realm, because in the Fey realm, elves are completely immortal. They can be killed, of course, but they do not age or past a certain point, and they don't die of natural causes. And so they would have funeral pyres, but uh, sometime in the early stages of after the elves first came here to the Prime Plane from the Fey realm, it is said that they were uh, contacted by Octus, the more or less the god, the new god of the dead, and he because he granted the elves the Octus is also kind of the god of arcane magical knowledge, and so he kind of gifted the elves this spell abilities and taught them magic, and the elves kind of at that point splintered into the high elves and the wood elves, and the high elves, uh, for the most part, wanted to venerate both the new gods and the old gods, whereas the wood elves believe um, that is, you know, not okay. That they are absolutely not all right with that. The wood elves generally are more of the druidic faith. They only follow the old gods, and they think that it is apocryphal to follow the new gods. And so, with the new faith coming in, the elves started to bury their dead more rather than just burning them on a funeral pyre. And so when you come in here, you see that there's a natural spring in the middle of this, and at the front or at the edge of this spring up here is a 25-foot tall statue that is kind of overgrown and partially, um, um, you know, kind of dented and chipped, but it looks like it's made of bronze. And it is a statue of the old god Sinaz, who is the patron god of the elves. It is said that Sinaz created the elves. And around here, you see that there are a number of burial plots, and all of these are covered with a intricately carved, stone cover over the grave itself, and they all have, of course, some kind of elvish statue as a headstone. And up here, of course, you just see a plot that is crudely dug in the ground, and there's a group of people up here standing around, looking down into the hole, and they're saying some things. And the other thing that you notice is that this pond here, this natural spring, is actually like an effervescent um, mineral water. There is natural carbonation coming in from the bottom, and so it's quite the bubbly pool. There are a number of people here at the funeral, and you can see them all kind of standing around this grave up here. What would you guys like to do?
I'm just stand in the background mysteriously.
Is the body on display or something?
No, the body is wrapped and in the ground.
Let's try and identify who all is there.
Yeah.
So the first thing that you see, or you see a number of mourners, but you see a pair of girls. The oldest one is kind of um, she's crying, and she has some flowers that she drops onto the grave, and clinging to her leg and kind of not wanting to look into the grave and kind of hiding behind her leg, but just kind of clutching onto her, is a much younger elven girl. And for an elf, when I say young, she looks like she's probably about 22 years old. So she's just a wee lass by elven standards, and she is clinging to this older girl. She does just kind of burying her face, and she's clearly sobbing as well.
So it must be like sisters or something. Cousins. Hard to say.
So that the younger one looks like she probably hasn't brushed her hair in like a week. If you ever seen
Um,
if you've ever seen young girls that have just been allowed to go feral, she kind of looks like that. Um, um, and the older one just kind of lingers by the grave, and the procession is starting to break up, and they're all, everybody's kind of gathering into small clusters and chatting and patting each other on the shoulder, consoling one another. Where would you like to go?
Man, I'd really like to get a piece of her body.
might have to come back later for that.
It seems like every like two of the games that we play, Wes is constantly trying to get access to a dead body.
I mean, I could raise her right on up, temporarily, and she could just follow us.
That might be really upsetting to the funeral goers. I'm not sure.
That might not endear you to the rest of the town.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I'll have to return and read it for hair or whatever. This is all wrapped up. You can't even sneak a piece.
So
Do you have speak with the dead?
I do not. Do you?
No.
So
No.
you see one of these elves, and he just clearly looks like I mean he's wearing a number of fishing lures are hooked to this leather vest that he is wearing, and he introduces himself as he sees you kind of standing there. He introduces himself as Folan, and he says he's kind of quietly sobbing. He says, Cilia went out to fetch some water from the well and never returned one evening a few weeks back. Saida, and he points to the young feral girl, she went out looking for her after she hadn't returned for about an hour. It must have been terrible what that little one saw. And the child hasn't spoken a word since. She was such a happy little girl, and he kind of trails off.
Okay.
I think I want to try to read his thoughts with the helm of telepathy.
Okay. Okay. Let's see.
Maybe the little girl thoughts should be read next since she can't talk.
Helm of telepathy.
Yeah, I can read hers too.
Okay, so you reading his thoughts. So Olin really doesn't know much about what's been going on, but you do learn there have been a number of villagers that have been murdered in the area, and it all seems to be in the same manner. Olin hasn't well, Fullen is lucky enough that he hasn't been one to actually find any of the bodies, but he does know what has been found, and um, you can read his thoughts. You know what he has been told by some of the other villagers that have found the bodies, that sometimes they're found up in a tree, hanging by their own entrails, completely opened up from neck to crotch. In other cases, they've been found and they are in a crude form of crucifixion to a tree trunk, or sometimes they are left on a frequented trail through the forest, so that it's obvious that they'll be found. Um, that's about all he knows. Did you want to try to read Saida, the young elf girl?
Yeah.
So Saida. Pretty sure I have this information. I just need to find where I put it. Reading her thoughts, you know that her name is Saida Carlin. She is a half elf, as is her older sister, who she's clinging to, Finia. Finia was the oldest of three girls. The girl that was murdered was named Celia Carlin. They are half elves, and you learn that Saida did, in fact, witness, or not wit. Yes, she did witness. She witnessed a. I have it here. A green-skinned beast was standing over the corpse of her sister, ripping out her guts. Not what you're seeing in Saida's mind does not look like a troll or an orc or anything like that, or even a hag. Maybe a hag is closer, but it looks more like a hunched, very old human with green skin and a hooked nose and like just long, vicious looking claws and incredibly long fingers.
Okay.
We heard
Wow.
about a wit from direction. Maybe that's that.
Did you want to bring that?
Southwest?
Did you want to bring that up to somebody?
Oh, I'm gonna
Mhm.
tell the party. I mean,
Okay.
it's. I'll describe what she's thinking, and then maybe, you know, at that I I
We'll
don't
probably
know.
wait till let's wait till the meeting at the manor tonight to bring it up, because right now people are like getting closure
Yeah.
with dad. I don't want
It's
to.
yeah. It's a funeral. If we're gonna do anything, we'll have to kill everybody, so our reputation won't be ruined.
So Jackson and Peppermint, or not Jackson and Peppermint, Dentry and Peppermint are kind of there, and a woman, a female elf, is making her way down and out, and she says she notices, she kind of looks at Dentry and Peppermint, being like, half orcs. She doesn't seem overly prejudiced about it, but she says, "Oh, you appear to be new here. It's so kind of you to offer your condolences. Oh, that poor lass, Celia, always seemed like such a sweet girl, much prettier than her older sister." And she lets you know her name is Tiriana Greeley, and she works as a maid at Ashran Manor. And she says, "I heard a rumor at the Vagabond Ferry that Finia may have had something to do with her own sister's demise. Probably because she was so much more attractive than Phinia.
Wasn't nobody attractive
Sister's
to
the
kill
witch.
him. Yeah. We're looking for a
And
green
like,
motherfucker.
and Peppermint's like, yeah, you can make a lot more money that way. So,
What's her brain doing? I'm gonna read her thoughts.
Tyrian or
Yeah.
Tyriana. Um, Not much. She, like I said, she works as a scullery maid at Asherin Manor. Not, she's not. It's not like your English noble manor. The staff there all seem to be um, fairly well treated and well paid. Her immediate thoughts are she has to get back to Ashford Manor to begin preparation for the dinner tonight, and beyond that, it's just mostly uh, you know lowborn gossip between everybody about what's going on and who's doing who.
she's doing calculus in there.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yes. Yes, she's a rocket scientist. She's doing her own research using texting on ascending stone while sitting on the toilet.
Do you guys want to go investigate the well before we go to the meeting tonight, or do you just want to go to the meeting?
I'll check out a well. That sounds cool.
Always good to do recon.
What well are you checking out?
The one the girl went to that ended up dead.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You can.
A death well.
That's a crime scene. Yeah.
It was a while ago.
Ring.
So this is the well. Right here. Now, of course, this is Ashrin Manor. Let me look at my mess. What is around this? So this building here is actually called. You see a wood sign out front that says Erendial Dry Goods, and it is basically a general store selling, typical shit to the villagers. Nothing spectacular. These other buildings are just local residences. This building here, yes, this building here was actually the Carlin residence, and that is where Cilia, Phinia, and Saida lived. Now, the other thing that you learn about the Carlin girls is that they were all that is left. Both their parents, their elven mother and their human father, or half-elven father, were both killed. Their elven mother was killed some time ago. Like she was killed during a period of time known as the Trouble with Elves, when the elves of the Sylvanas Forest actually got into it with the humans of the Braunhaven region because the people of the Braunhaven region were logging too deeply into the Sylvanas Forest, and this kind of pissed off the elves. And it wasn't necessarily a war. I mean, a lot of the humans that you talk to will refer to it as a war, but it was really a bunch of different skirmishes, and that went on until the Braun family was able to kind of negotiate a truce, and there was an agreement made between the elves and the people of the Braunhaven region that, if you want to log around the outskirts of the Sylvanas Forest, that's fine, but don't be coming into the forest and logging it. That's our space. You need to stay the fuck out. And so their mother was actually killed during that period. Their half-elven father raised the three girls, and he ended up taking off He did merchant caravans, and he was killed in a caravan raid. And so Celia was the one raising them, or rather, Phinia was the middle girl. I want to say. Did I get that right? Fuck me, I wrote this. What the hell's wrong with me? Yes, Phinia was raising the girl. Celia was the middle daughter, and then the youngest is Saida. And so Phinia's been raising her two younger siblings this entire time, and now Celia's dead, and it's just her and Saida. And you can see that this homestead here, uh, it's I wouldn't say that it's necessarily run down, but it is in need of some work compared to some of the other houses in the town. Like it seems like the Carlin girls are barely getting by. But this was the well that you saw in Saida's mind. That this is where she found her sister.
All right. Well,
Let's
their
crawl in
entrails.
there.
Yeah, if her entrails and shit got yanked out, maybe some of it is down in the well. Yeah.
Sure. All of you can make a. Um, you're investigating, so I would say it's everybody who's searching the well can make a intelligence ability check.
Well, somebody named it. I don't have to do anything.
Entry did.
Malachi did.
Okay, so Dentry, Malachi.
It's gross, and don't want to get water entrails on our hands. They're just gonna walk.
So Dentry and Malachi, you find obvious. First of all, this has clearly been cleaned up. But Dentry and Malachi find some evidence that there has been blood stains. Malachi does find some bits of tissue that escaped the cleansing. You don't really find a whole lot in the well, but down out and around the base of the well is where you find most of this stuff. And from what Borman saw in the child's mind was that basically her sister was, kind of. It looked like she was getting water out of the well. Something grabbed her, gutted her, and she slid down with just her head leaning against the well as this thing was ripping her apart.
Goodness.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, but it's not worth a spell slot to dig deeper. If she just got murdered at the well, then it was at night, right?
Yeah. Yes, all of the murders happened. Well, it's assumed that all the murders happened at night. This one that you see, what Saida saw, definitely did happen at night. But it seems that all of the villagers, the standard procedure is that they all disappear. People look for them for about a week, and then their body is generally found either in the early evening or at night. And usually when they find the body, not usually but every time, it appears that the body is placed in such a way as to want to be found, but the bodies are not eaten, they're just rearranged.
So somebody was hiding in the well and pulled her in.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So somebody was hiding in the well and pulled her in. Is that right? So,
You don't see you didn't see that. You just see
okay.
you don't see what led up to this. It's like Saida's mind was just like hyper focused on that moment, like just this green ugly monster tearing her sister apart.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't cast the memorial spell until I study it. So I mean, tomorrow I can take this piece of tissue and we can get more answers from the victim's point of view.
All right. Okay.
Do you want to just attend the dinner tonight? Is that let's see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
sounds
seems like a
great.
plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And, just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna try. We'll see if this works. If it doesn't work. Okay, I think that's everybody. This is something new we're gonna try. But if we come down here, do you guys see your tokens?
No.
You do not. So it's
I
not.
don't see anything.
It's all black.
Yes.
Yeah, Roll20 is a bunch of fucking liars. Oh, just turn on Explorer mode. Ugh. No, it doesn't fucking work. Fuck you and your. So you should be able to see it now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, so this is Ashran Manor. Coming into the entry hall, you see that they have like lattice-worked double doors that are like 8 feet tall. They they lead into an entry hall that has richly stained wood on the floor, like a elvish type of tile And there are something that you haven't seen in too many places. You saw maybe a couple of places like this in like Zalatoheim, and you saw it a couple of locations in the Imperial Port. But this house actually has oil lamps that are on like brass sconces mounted to the walls, and they give off a soft glow in here. And you see that there are two statues bordering the set of double doors that leads into the main house, and these are 8 foot tall statues that appear to depict ancient elven warriors. There is a door into the west room that appears to be a map. Into the west room, it appears there is a billiards room, and this door is locked. And then, of course, there are the double doors that lead to the north into the main household.
Well, I'm not gonna go poking around wherever they
Yeah.
lost things. I'll go where I'm supposed to.
Yep, I'm all on board with that.
All right, so you guys can move your tokens where you would like to go.
I mean, there's nobody here to greet us or anything.
No,
Just walking them.
but you can hear voices coming from behind these double doors to the north.
Okay.
I cannot move my tokens.
Should we knock?
It's up to you.
I can't move anything.
You can't move your character.
I cannot either.
Correct.
Oh. Because I placed these in the wrong spot.
I think
That's
we're pretty
fine.
much just going straight up through the shit and into the where everybody is.
Okay. So coming into this larger grand hall, you guys should be able to move your tokens now. You see that there's a large fireplace here. It adorns this east wall, and you see that there's a comfortable, fancy-looking couch and a couple of chairs. There's a couple of tables here. There are pictures of what appears to be a very nice, sparkling elven wine, and everybody's got glasses. You see that there are a number of maids moving around with silver platters, handing out wine and whatnot, and you can see that there are a number of people in here. You see that Kirill Triskelin is here, and you see that that Finia and Saida are over here near the fireplace. Saida is still clutching to Finia's skirt, kind of hiding behind her leg, fearful and kind of watching around. And you see that Askell, the owner of the Vagabond Tavern, Vagabond Ferry, is here. And there's a number of other various elven villagers, including the farmer that you met initially when you came into town. And standing over here, kind of in this corner, you see that there is a rather dashing-looking elf. Jackson, you notice just immediately the way this guy is dressed, that you're guessing that he's probably a ranger. But a very fancy official ranger. Like he's wearing, a leather armor that is emblazoned with a number, or tooled with a number of insignia and symbols and pageantry. Very, very fancy looking elf. And standing next to him is Lord Nyaris. And he is kind of Well, everybody can roll under your wisdom. Make a wisdom ability check.
Jackson got it. Wait, did he? Jackson got it, yeah.
Okay.
Well, everybody on the girls' team got it.
Yeah, they did. How did Borman and Malachi do?
Foreman actually got his wisdom.
Okay.
Malachi did not.
So looking at Nyaris, you see him. He's talking occasionally to Kirill and to the fancy dressed ranger elf. And but then you notice that every once in a while he turns his head over his shoulder and appears to be talking to somebody who's not there. But he seems to be in a good mood. He'll turn his head like somebody said something, and he'll kind of chuckle and laugh and be like, "Oh yeah, yes, you're completely right," and then turn and keep talking. He said, you hear him say,
He's also seeing somebody who's not there.
so this building this room here is a rather vast library, and this room off of the main hall appears to be a rather fancy guest room. And you see that placed on the bed, you see that there are some fresh like night robes and things like that for whoever would be a guest down here. Go ahead.
I was wanting to read the dude's brain that's talking to what might be an invisible person.
You
Okay.
can do it if you want.
Let's see here.
You know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna cast Detect Invisible.
Okay. I had something.
And see if he's really crazy or not. Yeah.
Invisible
Uh-huh.
creatures or items in range, which is 10 feet per level, so that's 50 feet, are revealed to me.
Okay. Hold on here. I'm looking.
Oh, you're looking at the spell?
No, I'm looking for something else.
And if it's on, we'll just kill this village.
Kill the whole village.
Oh, I mean, if things turn violent, there's, like in Baldur's Gate where you pick the wrong pocket or something, and then everybody's your enemy. And,
Right? Yes.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's not. It's
So
not as bad when you get fireball. You just get them in a little area and nuke that area.
Fireball is your friend.
Oh yeah.
So you detect invisible, and standing just behind Lord Nyaris, you see a fairly attractive but traditional and demure-looking Orentian woman, and she's wearing a white and red kimono. And she's sitting there, and she's standing behind Nyaris, and she has her hands tucked into her sleeves. And occasionally she'll say something to Lord Nyaris, and you hear Nyaris, or you can actually hear Nyaris return or talk to her, and he. He says, you see her say something. You can't hear what she says, but you see Nayara's turn and says, "Oh yes, you are so right, my lovely flower. Yes, and just look how poor Saida acts. And he nods as if agreeing. The rest of you don't see anything. He just nods like he's agreeing with somebody who's not there. He says, "You are definitely right. I will set something up for them." And he kind of sees you guys, and it was Malachi that cast Detect Invisible?
There was.
So the Orentian woman she doesn't act aggressive, but she turns and looks directly at Malachi.
Oh,
my
Malachi
God.
will tell her it's rude to hide invisible like that in front of everybody. You have everybody thinking this man is insane.
Nyaris reaches out to shake your hand and says, "Oh, greetings. I'm Lord Nyaris Asher, and I've heard from Kirill that you were in the area and have been helping out with this dreadful business." And he turns back. The Orentian woman says something in his ear, and he says, "Oh, what? Oh, forgive me, my sweet." And he looks over his shoulder at the wall for everybody else, and he says, "Please forgive my rudeness. Allow me to introduce my paramour, Jia Ning." And he seems to beam with pride, with this wide smile of a man who's stupidly in love.
Oh, jeez.
The rest of you don't see anybody standing there.
Yeah, I don't think Malachi would bullshit us about her being invisible, though. So, Laura takes the wand of dispel, or staff of dispel, I don't remember which one, and like discreetly hands it to Malachi. So if he wants to bust this thing wide open, he can do it.
Gonna do it. Gonna sure as fuck do it. Hell yeah. I'm gonna hit dude with it.
So what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna dispel this dude and hopefully kill his charm. Well, he's an elf. Elves are immune to charm.
Right.
No, he's just stupid in the normal way.
He might really try to, but yeah, I'll saunter up over there, and
You could make her not invisible.
that's what
I
I'm
was
gonna
thinking.
do. Is I'm gonna end that invisibility with the rod of dispel.
Nothing happens.
Damn it. Okay. So something else is going on with him.
Yeah.
When you try that, the invisible Jia Ning holds up a finger and she goes,
You can get past that. Like a genie or something? I'm trying to think.
You didn't say the magic word.
Well, I mean, what happens if I tap dude with the dispel?
nothing happens.
He's like, why are you poking me?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, that's quite the nice stick. Is that a rod? What is that?" "Oh, that's a nice staff."
Oh, I've dealt with a lot of entities over the years, and it just kind of brings the truth out to some.
Oh, well, that's definitely a good thing for you to have. And you hear
Yeah.
you hear somebody tapping a spoon against the crystal glass, ting ting ting, and you see that the well-dressed ranger elf kind of stands there and he says, "Allow me to introduce myself for those that are new and don't know who I am. I am Dalior Ilstina. I am the master of the hunt for the Council of Elders of the city of Derzwadalek. I thank you all for coming, and I'm hoping that we can successfully find this fiend." And he turns to Kirill and he says, "For dear Asania's sake." And he pauses for a moment, and then he says, "Did you see that the Council of Elders sent the Master of the Hunt?" I am certain, Kirill says, "Did you see that the Council of Elders sent the Master of the Hunt? I am certain that he will be able to get to the bottom of this and bring the villain to justice." And Dahlia says, "Before we begin, I'd like to give special thanks to Lord Nyaris Ashran for giving us the use of his home and his gracious invitation to stay here." And he raises a glass and toasts. And somebody else one of the other elves in the crowd says, "Yeah, can be wagging your tallies some other time. Tell us what you plan to do about the killer in our midst." And he says, "Yes, you are right, and I apologize. I didn't mean to discount any of your losses. I have looked at all the evidence, and even the most recent body." And he nods at Phinia and Saida Carlin. He says, "It is my determination that these deaths can be attributed to nothing more than a wild beast. Perhaps an overly aggressive owlbear or a warp beast. And he kind of eyes Mira. And he says, and there's number of the other elves in the crowd just start mumbling to one another like, this is bullshit. And he says, it is my plan to gather a group of volunteers to set out on the morrow evening to hunt this terrible beast. Who will join me?
Has anybody seen anybody that is? And I'll describe the thing that the elf girl saw. Tall, green woman, crook nose.
Roll a d6. Nope, nobody has seen anything. Nothing like what you're describing. And Kirill kind of leans over to Jax and he says, oh, thank goodness the master of the hunt is on the job and has a plan to put an end to this foul beast. I trust that you will be volunteering to go on the hunt. Please allow me to extend an invitation for all of you to stay here at Ashland Manor so that you will be more comfortable and have comfortable lodging. There's no need for you to have to camp in the forest in the outskirts. That might put you in danger of whatever this foul beast is.
Really think it's a beast, huh?
Well, if the
Borman
master of the hunt says so, then that must be true.
Borman will say that the orphan sisters seem to be of hard times, and perhaps they would be willing to rent us lodging for a hefty price that would make their times much easier financially.
Lord
that's true.
Nyara says, oh, there's no need for that. You can feel free to stay here. I plan to take care of the Carlin girls. They'll be well seen after.
Well, if it's all the same to you, I'm afraid I insist. This my honor. This is Borman talking. My honor is that we take care of everybody, and we just can't allow them to go this. We can do some repairs around their house. We think we're going to offer them a sizable financial gain in order to let us stay in their house.
And Phinia says, oh, that is so kind of you. Thank you so much. Sayida doesn't say anything, and she says, please excuse my younger sister. She hasn't spoken since the terrible event.
Well, she saw the entity, the green-skinned, hook-nosed one.
And when you say that, Sayida just kind of clutches at her sister's skirt and kind of moves behind her even more, kind of looking at you, eyeing you like she's not sure if you're a good guy or a bad guy.
We are just merely collectors of rugs. We sell them. I happen to have a really fine rug specimen that you might be interested in.
Are you gonna pull it out and show it to him, or?
Yeah, I'm pulling out the whore rug.
Okay, you pull out the whore rug. So Malachi notices. So Borm pulls out the whore rug, and Malachi notices that the invisible Jia Ning takes immediate interest in looking at this rug, and she whispers something to Nyaris, and Lord Nyaris says, "Oh yes, that is a wonderful rug. That would go well in our office." And he looks at Kirill. Don't you think that would go well in the office? And Kirill looks at it. He's like, I guess you have strange taste, sir, but whatever. And Lord Nyaris says, how much do you want for it?
Oh, we must come from different cultures. It is customary of my people for the person purchasing to make a generous offer to begin the negotiations.
He says, oh, he turns to the invisible Jia Ning, and he says, oh, my sweet flower, how much do you think that this rug from your homeland would be worth? And Jia Ning seems to whisper something to him. He says, I'll give you 500 gold pieces.
I'll take that 500 gold pieces and tell my dungeon master that I've officially sold the whore rug, earning 500 gold pieces worth of experience. To the party.
Excellent.
Finally got rid of the rug.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm removing it from the bag of shit I've got to deal with now. I'm
Yes.
deleting the whore rug.
And he says, and Lord Nyaris tells a couple of the maids, "Oh, take this and place it in the den, in front of the desk. We want this to be proudly displayed in the office." And the two maids are like, "Ew, this rug's kind of sticky." And they're like, "It smells funny." And they're okay. And they take it down. They go into they take. You see them pull out a key. Or Nyaris pulls out a key and gives it to the maids, and they go down here and unlock the door and go in. And after a little while of rolling out the rug and making sure that it's placed the way that Nyaris might like it, they make sure to lock this door and then come back and give him the key back.
The rug's worth $2,000.
Well,
but
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I made
They're getting rid of it.
Yeah, I'm actually. It is my goal to steal this rug again and sell it again. And
of course it is.
Before we leave this town, I want to see if I can steal the whore rug back.
All right.
Just personal
That's
goals. I'm not going to tank the adventure, but the opportunity arises and we're pilfering this estate. I'm getting that whore rug back. You bet that. I think he's a good guy. He's under the magics of his invisible friend that I can't seem to do anything about.
So
It's like a devil thing, I think. I think it's like some kind of evil.
So
I'm gonna look up spells to have around in case that's the truth.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So in this hall, you see that there are a number, like these two wall statues or murals, and there's this large circular staircase that goes up to the second floor, and these grand double doors open, and you see that a maid comes out and tells everybody that the master chef of the Ashran Manor, O'Dolly Becklegiggle, is stated that dinner is served, and everybody starts to mill into this room, the private dining hall. You note that there are a couple of arches here that are these very narrow and short and depth stairs that lead down, and it seems that the kitchen takes up the basement level. And there is these stairs. If you know anything about old Victorian homes, these would be known as servant stairs. They were very dangerous. If you were in a hurry, it was very easy for you to slip and fall down the stairs and break a leg. That is what these stairs are like. And you see that the kitchen staff makes their way up, and they are very careful walking up. But of course, they are elves, and so they are quite a bit more dexterous than normal human. But servant stairs back in the Victorian days, a lot of servants ended up dying, not because they broke their neck or anything, but because they broke an ankle or a leg, which could easily be a death sentence back then. They just didn't. They weren't medically sound as they are now. And so, you note that these stairs look steep, narrow, and dangerous. But the food, O'Dolly Becklegiggle is a gnome who is known far and wide for serving gnomish cuisine. And so this is, kind of a gnomish cuisine would be kind of a mix between dwarven and halfling fare. It appears to be a fusion with some elvish cuisine thrown in, and it looks all quite fresh and delicious. I actually have a picture of O'Dolly Becklegiggle, which is just
After we kill everybody, we have to see if we can recruit the gnome to go cook at our castle.
Get a whole team.
Yeah, we'll begin catering services and shit.
I doubt she'll get along with she's a gnome, so she's not going to get along with the kobold.
Right, but we have the ghost.
That's true.
Don't think that's fun.
We probably won't get to steal the cook.
Probably not.
I guess we're going in to sit down and
Okay.
do the dinner.
This is O'Dolly Beckle-Gickle.
Hello.
Oh,
Seems nice.
she is cute. She cute like puppy, not cute like hot. But,
Right.
yeah. Well, if you're into the furry thing,
Are we sitting up here?
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, the dinner goes on fairly uneventful. Or is Malachi who is wearing the helm of
Malachi, and hell yeah, he's hitting this. He's going to try to read Home Chicken, the Ghostial Spectre chick's brain, and if that doesn't work, then definitely wanting the Ranger Rick and
Ranger?
the Lord of the Estate. I definitely want to hit them up.
So
I mean,
Nyaris, Lord Nyaris. So reading you don't get anything reading Jia Ning's thoughts. I don't think. Where is my? So yeah, you don't get anything from her, but from Nyaris, he truly does believe that he's in love with an Orentian woman named Jia Ning. And he even conjures up mental images of this beautiful woman with raven black hair, wearing a white and red kimono. In and she appears to be holding onto his hand, even at dinner. But she's invisible, of course. Acting like she is truly in love with him as well. But even more interesting is that you're kind of moving around, kind of scanning. The master of the hunt, let's see,
Ranger Rick.
yes, Ranger Rick. He is Dalier Alstina. He is the master of the hunt for the city of Derzwadalek. High position, but really not a official, not really so much an official position in the sense that it used to be. So the capital city Derzwadalek, with the last king, and this was several hundred years ago, when the last king died, it was decided that they would more or less move away from a royalty system of government and move over to the Council of Elders. It was believed that this would, with the division between the High Elves and the Wood Elves, it was believed that this would give the people more of a voice in the government. And that's kind of true. So the Council of Elders, they are more or less appointed by other council members. So it's not like the people vote, but each council member has their constituents that they are more or less seen to. So it is in their best interest to appoint counselors that are going to be good for the people as a whole. But it's not like the average Derzwadalek citizen actually gets to vote. And so this is not an ideal form of government. In addition to that, the entire council, there is a head of the Council of Elders called the Primarch. And the Primarch is actually appointed by vote of the council members themselves. The people don't get a vote. And the Primarch actually holds a lot of power, because the other thing that happened when the Council of Elders basically took over as the government of the city, the other thing that happened was that this caused everything in the city to be controlled by a guild. And so there are a number of high-ranking guilds, and the Primarch's main job is to more or less meet with each of these guilds and uh, basically bring their interests to the table for the council to vote on. Now, this all sounds like a smooth-running oligarchy, more or less, but it is mired in one major problem that is an issue of the elves, and that issue is their long lives. So elves living, hundreds and hundreds of years on the prime plane, uh, this causes them to not really be in a hurry to do anything. They don't see anything as being something that needs to be done in a hurry, and so they the issue with for instance, bringing the wood elves back into the fold and trying to cure this rift between the two elven races. That idea was put forth. There was some work put into kind of making it happen, and then nothing came of it because we don't have to do that tomorrow. They'll be there in 100 years. We're not in a rush to do any of this, and so this has caused a problem, and it has actually caused this rift to widen even more. So the city has some problems. The Master of the Hunt was actually a royal appointed position, so Daler Ilstina doesn't have the level of clout that his position might imply to anybody who lives outside of the city. The reality is that he is really a know-nothing, bottom rung, because royalty no longer exists. Although the great houses of Derswadalek are kind of holdovers of that nobility, but the Master of the Hunt, it sounds fancy on paper, but that's about all it is. And so, reading his mind, you kind of get the feeling. I mean, he seems like a pretty good guy, a very honest person, but the reality is that he really thinks that solving this, or not necessarily solving it, but coming up with some kind of solution that will, at the very least, brush it under the rug, will elevate him politically. Give me just a second. I have to beat a cat.
Wow. I'm gonna grab something.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what you get from Ilstina. I will wait for Cameron to return.
Yeah, she said just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of my spell stuff that deals with undead and devils and stuff as a necromancer is really more in line of getting along with them
Right.
than fighting them.
So this is what Dahlia Ilstina looks like.
Yeah. And so we don't think he's shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you reading his mind, it would be obvious to you that, I mean, he thinks that putting a bow on this and sweeping it under the rug is going to really kind of possibly elevate him in some way. But there is something more interesting as you are sweeping around the room, reading the thoughts of people around here. Oh, actually, another one here.
I've just been sitting on this helmet telepathy for a long time.
Yeah, it's coming in really useful here.
Yeah.
This. This is the son-in-law, Kirill Triskelin.
He's got a cool coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he might be a Doctor Who extra. And then show Captain Crazy Pants here. I mean, he doesn't look like he's crazy. Maybe a little. This is Lord Nyaris Ashran.
Well, he's definitely talking to something. I'm not sure what it is.
So, reading Kirill's mind, Kirill actually has something quite obvious on his mind. And it is kind of floating at the top of his thoughts. He has plans for later tonight. His plans are to meet up with I guess you could say, mistress at the Kareth Tea Barge. And you can see in his mind him writing something in a journal entry. Go ahead and make a intellect. Yeah, go ahead and make an intelligence ability check.
I'm good.
Yeah, you scored that.
I have a 16, by the way. So
On here.
that high
I don't know how.
intelligence was the
I don't know how
key
well this will
choice.
come out. Well, as a magic user, you want high intelligence.
That's why I went magic user light with the necro, but now I'm necro magic user.
So, looking through his eye, his mind's eye, this is the journal entry that you see.
So that's a ghost.
Mhm.
Then it's a ghost.
Okay. So that's why we can't dispel her, huh?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I can I can definitely uh I can definitely have a workaround to keep her the fuck up off me.
So, the other thing that you pick up from reading his thoughts is that the Kareth Tea Barge is this rather strange thing to exist in the in an elven city. And so with Nyaris's, it's not just Lord Nyaris who has ties to Orentis. There are numerous businesses um, in Derswadalek that that do shipping from Derzwadalek out across the Dragon Sea to Arenta, some even to Erebachia. So there is import export with these elven companies, but the Kareth Tea Barge is a rather peculiar thing. That's okay. I tell you all about it. Oh my god, I wrote so much. So part of the nature of these companies working with their holdings and estates over in Arentis is that some of that culture has made it back into Derzwadalek. One of those cultures over in Arentis is the idea of a tea house. Now, most people from Arentis, especially commoners, um, or really people that have visited Arentis, outsiders, would view a tea house as a common brothel. That is not true. Tea houses, they, yes, the low end tea houses are pretty much basically nothing more than a brothel. But middle of the road and high end tea houses are far more than that. The companions that work in a tea house are generally are highly intelligent, well educated, highly versed in culture and sometimes military strategy, poetry, art, you name it. They are anywhere else they would be considered scholars in a lot of these fields. They're also prostitutes. And part of the entire tea house situation is that there is, of course, the tea ceremony, which is paramount to the entire operation. You can't go to a tea house, even a low end slum tea house. You can't go and not be a part of the tea ceremony if your end goal is just to get laid. You have to have the tea. You have to go through the ceremony. That's just how it works. Some of this came back, but the people of Derzwadalek were like, we're high elves. You're not going to build a brothel in our town. And so this half elf decided that they were going to do this, and they petitioned the Council of Elders. The compromise on this was that, yeah, you can build your tea house, but it has to be on a barge. It can only be open at night, and you can't be in the city. So the reason why it's on the barge is that every night at sundown, your guests will board the barge. You take it out into the middle of the river and anchor. You do whatever you want out in the middle of the river, and you're not bothering anybody in town. And then at dawn, you come back and you can dock, and your guests can come off. And so sometimes while it is moored out or anchored out in the middle of the river, some people will take a private boat and row over to the tea barge and board that way after it has left the city docks. That's occasionally, and sometimes people that aren't staying the entire evening on the tea barge will make their way back and forth with their rowboats. But the Kareth Tea Barge, from what you're reading in his mind, is quite the fancy thing. There are meals that are served aboard. There is it is a 3-deck barge with, of course, the surface deck. The middle deck is kind of a fancy gambling den, and where the companions can kind of mill around and meet with people. And then there is private rooms below. below decks and it costs anywhere from a night there. It costs anywhere from 100 to 300 gold pieces, usually paid in facial silver pieces. And by reading his mind, and of course from looking through his mind's eye and seeing this journal entry, it appears that Kirill has been skimming money off of the rent payments in order to fund his habit of whoever it is that he's going over to spend time with on the Kareth T-Barge.
I want to, speaking as Malachi here, I want to do a bi-directional communication with Mavis.
Okay.
And say, I've been investigating the people with the helm of telepathy that I have, and the invisible creature that I detected around him, I believe, is a ghost. Would you mind offering a prayer before we all, get too much in it, and somewhere in there, turn the undead away?
All right. Are ghosts and undead?
Ghosts are undead as fuck.
Yeah, ghosts are undead.
I could just show. I just show off my holy symbol.
So you would have to show your holy symbol. Hold on, and I will take a look at this. I don't know. Let's see. I got to see how this will work. Hold on, I'm adding up some XP here.
Okay.
Oh.
You're like, oh, well, that's fine then.
And I'll even, if I'm able to, share the vision of this undead ghost shield lady with Mavis. So,
Okay. Yeah, you can do that too.
and you can talk back as I talk to you with this shit.
Yeah, it's bi-directional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're
I'll
bi.
just show off my holy symbol at the table. Be like, hey, check out my holy symbol. Isn't it cool? I'll raise it up and then scare the ghost. In theory.
Okay, so you're gonna hold up your holy symbol and try to turn.
Yeah, but I'm showing it off to the table also. So it doesn't seem like I'm just holding it up for now.
Nothing happens. Malachi,
Does anyone
you see
explore?
you see Jia Ning because she's invisible. You see her make a kind of scrunch up her face in a disgusting look, like she doesn't like the look of that holy symbol, but she's not dismissed at all.
Okay. Then let's have her make a saving throw versus spells as I cast Command Undead, 4th level necromancer spell.
Nothing happens.
There's something going on with this that we don't understand.
Yeah.
She might not even be evil. Like, she might be the force for good and all of this. And
It doesn't matter if she's, yeah. I mean,
is the problem.
if she was an undead, right there, and she was to fail her saving throw, she would become my bitch until she. It's much like a charm person for the undead, So, the fact that and your turn didn't have it, I'm thinking we're just wasting spell slots now. We'll need
We'll
more
go to sleep and get him back. It'll be okay.
Yeah. That's just disgruntled. I think we all ought to go to the T-Bar barge tonight and do what we do with hookers.
burn the madam's office down and
steal their rugs.
Steal their rugs. Yeah. Okay. So dinner kind of progresses. The rest of the night, the invisible Jianing kind of continues to look disgustingly and at Mavis, But she doesn't. She's not aggressive. She just. It's obvious on her face that she doesn't. That she doesn't.
Does not like her.
Yeah, yeah. Like it. Have you ever been to like a Minute Mart or a Chinese restaurant that you frequent often, and one of the female Asian owners or proprietors just doesn't like you? They can't hide it on their face. They like they may not say anything mean to you, but the look on their face tells you that they don't care if you're there or not. That's the look that Jianning is giving to Mavis. But the rest of the evening seems to go without any problems. Whatever she is, she doesn't seem to be doing anything more than whispering in the ear of Lord Nyaris.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I think. I mean, I guess I'll talk this out after the dinner.
Okay.
But I mean, I after the dinner, I will tell everybody that I think that the hooker he's going to see is bewitching him somehow, and that is why this ghost of his wife is around. And I'll mentally show him all the letter that you had me read.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so we could go to the.
So you're gonna make your way out to the T barge? Is that the plan?
I think so because it's like a big waste of time to try and hunt the beast with
Okay.
the danger.
So the first question is: are you going to uh, go out to the T barge after hours, or are you going to make your way straight to? God, this cat is driving me nuts today. Are you going to go across the bridge and board at the docks?
Um,
Or are you
Well,
going to
okay.
wait? Or are you going to wait and follow Carol?
I thought we'd wait and follow. Because what are we gonna do before he gets there?
yeah. Well, we could have a talk with his favorite hooker.
And maybe that's true. Yeah, we could go there. So we should either go there like way before him or after him. I don't want to run into each other on the way because we might just like leave.
I think we should go there really early and see what happens with this hooker.
All right, that's the plan. Let's do it.
Okay, so hold on here. I need to throw another map up.
I don't know what Brian thinks because he's not talking.
Hooker.
Brian does like the hookers.
He's
I
had
can get me.
he's had a lot of
Hooker
luck
now.
with hookers, to be.
I know, man. The last one is still in the party. I mean,
I mean, Peppermint is now part of the party. She can get some revenge for former hookers. It's gonna be great.
We could just kill all the hookers and we can't keep them there. Leave them off them.
we know the name of the one that he's going to see. What's her
Okay.
face?
Would he just switch hookers though?
Oh no, he's enthralled with this one. Is the thing.
Okay.
There's a certain one. It was said it in that little handout he just put out that he wrote. Is he feels bad about going and fucking her, but he's got to do it. And then he's got the memory of his wife, which has the same name as the stupid ghost that is not a ghost. And so, I mean, I've got to think it's some kind of bewitching or curse or something. It's got to be originating from the hooker end, is my guess.
It always originates from the hooker end.
Mm.
So, this is the actual city of Derswadalek and what is across this bridge. So, at the northwestern end of town is that large bridge, and you, of course, are down here. This is where Southbridge is. For your edification, the other end of that trail comes up here to Northbridge, which isn't nearly as populated as the southern end. It seems that the Southbridge is the more populated region, but Northbridge is actually known among the city as the Bridge of Lovers because this high arch allows for a very wonderful view of the rising moon, after sunset or watching the sunset. It's just that's where young elves go to neck. Coming across the bridge, if you're leaving early, leaving the dinner and hurrying across the bridge, puts you over here in the Docks District. So the Docks District. It's not the Docks District of the city of Derswadalek. So coming across the bridge, the first thing that you would find, of course, is down here. This is the Duin Ward, and it is sometimes referred to as the Riverwalk due to its proximity. This is the Inian River. This is mostly shops and tenement-style housing, and it seems to be kind of geared towards both the lower end of the elven spectrum, financially, and for foreigners. And the most popular place here, of course, is the Rawlum Tavern and Inn, which is known throughout the city as being the most popular place for foreigners to stay. It is the most friendly to foreigners, and it is quite the big to-do. It's someplace that most people want to visit. The Docks Ward, though, is not like the Docks Ward of other cities that you may have been in, especially is not like the Docks Ward of the Imperial Port. While you do see the typical Teamsters and whatnot, stevedores moving about the docks, the rest of the Docks Ward is actually quite clean. And I will allow Borman can make a wisdom ability check.
Well, that's not my thing.
Okay.
Not my thing at all.
Well, the obvious thing is that it's quite clean, and you don't see that there is. You don't the rest. You feel comfortable walking around like without having to clutch onto your coin purse. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of pickpockets. Doesn't seem like there's a large criminal element here. It is quite nice. You notice that there are a lot of fishermen, fishing boats, and in fact, 20% of the elven diet in Derswadalek consists of fish. And so
Some of the best things in the world smell like fish.
yes. The Docks Ward is the home of the Guild of Shipping and Fishing, and also the Guildhall of Arborist Laborers and construction workers. And so these two guilds kind of control, of course, Guild of Shipping and Fishing. Nothing can come in or out of the port. In fact, it is against the law for a ship to use their own stevedores and teamsters. You have to hire stevedores and teamsters from the guild in order to load and unload cargo from your ship, which ensures elven jobs. The other thing about citizens of the city of Derswadalek is their socialism. Everybody gets a stipend of, I believe it's 2 silver pieces a month. So even if you don't have a job, you can sit in your house and paint all day, and you're still going to have a basic income. But a lot of these elves, this is especially true since the guilds kind of took rise to control everything, they have supplemented that income, of course, with their own businesses, and most of the city seems to be rather wealthy. Um, there is a widely kept secret. Nobody knows well, somebody knows the exact location, but the average person doesn't. That Derswadalek has access to pretty vast silver mines and somewhere along the river to the northwest, and they keep those kind of secret and under wraps because they don't want anybody coming to invade and possibly taking over their silver mines and thus bankrupting the entire city. And it is because of those silver mines that they have minted the most commonly used silver piece in the entire region all the way throughout the Glaucian Empire, and that is the facial silver piece. And pretty much everything here is in denominations of the facial. Gold pieces, of course, are used. They take other types of money, but for the most part, Derswadalek functions just like Zlatoheim functions on electrum pieces. Derswadalek functions on silver pieces, and so it it's very strange. As the sun is setting, you can see that the last of the guests, and there's a line. People do, a lot of these rich motherfuckers don't care that they're seen by the general public boarding the Kirith Tea barge, and so there's this line on the docks as they are boarding on, and there's no price to board. That is decided once you get down below, and you guys come down below. So this is the Tea barge. Of course, this is the top deck, and then there is, of course, a door that leads down into the aft cabin here. And as you come back here, you see that there is, there's a gangplank that goes from the barge to the docks for you to board. And as you see that there are on the top deck, there are 4 deckhands that are moving around, getting prepared to leave. You also see that there are 7 companions. 3 of them are male. The other 4 are female. You immediately note that they are all half-elves. This is another thing about Derswadalek, is that half-elves, the elves are generally fairly, I guess we'll just call it what it is. They're fairly racist towards half-elves. This is kind of the lot in life that half-elves get. They didn't ask to be brought into this world, but they are usually in a lot of cases, they are abandoned by their human parents, and they are looked upon with disdain by their elven parents. And so when there are half-elves in the city, they are generally treated as lower-class citizens. And so you see all of these companions are all half-elves, and this would especially be spotted by Malachi. They are all dressed in full-length kimonos, or the males are dressed in fine suits that look like they are of an Orentian make. So frog buttons, a tight collar. They're all dressed immaculately. They're all very clean. They look way better than the prostitutes you saw, in the Imperial Port, and that was a pretty fancy joint. And then there's this aft cabin, and immediately here there is a wardrobe that you can hang up weapons. Weapons are not allowed, and you will be given a ticket, and they are well guarded. You are assured that your gear will be there when you decide to leave. And then there is, of course, a concierge counter, and behind this counter you see that there is a half-elf. She's a companion. She's wearing a kimono just like the rest of them, and she is actually operating the desk as a companion. And You see, as you guys kind of come in, you see that another half elf comes up, dressed in a. I don't know how to explain this. If you can imagine a feminine Victorian style suit. So dressed as a male, but the most feminine male suit you've ever seen. And you can't really tell. I mean, this elf seems to be rather androgynous, and she comes up to the companion that is working the concierge desk, and she says, "Have you seen Miriam?" And the girl behind the counter says, "No, I didn't notice her board this evening. She might have slipped down below, though. But you know, her regular is here and headed below. So you know, I'm sure that she'll show up." And the androgynous elf says, "I'll give it a bet, and then I'll go check on her." And the androgynous half elf turns to you and says, "Welcome to my tea barge. It is always good to see new faces. I am Sefanian Kareth." And shakes each of your hands. You note that the handshake is quite delicate. And she says, she turns to the companion working as the concierge and says, "For our new clients, see that they get a discount, 2,000 face shield for each for a full package. So that'd be 200 gold pieces. You get a full package, a full night. That includes dinner, not includes whatever you bet at the gambling table, drinks, everything is covered. And, of course, your choice of companion."
We all want to see Miriam.
She says, yes, that damned Miriam. Late again. I'm going to have to go down and check on her. She says,
We'll go with you.
What brings you to the tea barge? We don't get very many foreigners.
We believe Miriam is doing an extortion racket and brainwashing a lord thinking that it's his wife's ghost.
You're just going to blurt that out? So Sefanian just kind of chuckles. She says, "Okay, that's one of the more interesting stories that I've heard in quite some time. Anyways," she says, "Enjoy yourself. It'll be 200 gold pieces apiece, or 2,000 silver pieces." She says, "Tonight's meal is crafted by our excellent chef, Chindi Wu. It is orange duck served with an elvish short grain rice."
Okay. I'm deleting my
Yeah,
subtracting the gold.
I'm paying it.
Okay, we've all paid, so we can all do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Okay, and we will pick up.
Level up again after peppermint.
Would it be out of line for us to put all of our weapons in the bag of holding and then go on the ship?
You could do that.
That way we can just hand them out whenever we need them.
Good call. Seems like it's
I'll just stick this Colt 1911 45 caliber in my back pocket, and nobody will notice.
Well, I mean, it's in a bag of holding, so
right?
It's like we're not armed,
right?
You know,
right?
As we move about, but when it comes time to be armed, it shouldn't take long. You know,
that's true. That's true. Probably one round of pulling swords out, and you should be ready to go. Before we break for this week, let me go ahead and divvy up some XP for you.
Don't forget our 500 gold piece.
8. The 500 gold piece don't count, and the reason it doesn't count for XP is because you sold the item, you didn't achieve it. You already got the XP bonus for.
No, we didn't. No, we did not.
That
was in the thing. I had to sell it to get the XP for.
Okay,
that's why I've been trying to sell it everywhere.
I see. So okay, I'll give it to you. Okay, so
no wonder he's been so eager to sell. He's like, I want my XP for this.
I gotta sell the whore rug.
I wouldn't have been so hard. That whore rug would have been in Castle Braun if we'd already gotten the experience.
That's true. That's true. So everybody gets 1,606 XP.
Hey, that ain't bad.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yay!
I don't know if that bumps everybody on a level.
Nope. I got a ways to go.
Nope. That's okay.
Okay. Well, we will pick this up next week at 12 o'clock on Saturday.
All right.
Yes,
Thanks so
sir.
much.
Really fun.
Looking at the calendar. Should probably bring this up now. And this is true for Traveler on Wednesday night as well. So 2 weeks, well, a week from this Wednesday is, of course, Thanksgiving week. Do you guys want to play on Wednesday night?
I'm cool with it.
The night before
Thank
Thanksgiving?
you.
And
I
then
don't have anything big coming.
do we want to play on Saturday after Thanksgiving?
I'm cool with it. I don't do Thanksgiving traditionally. All our family gets together for what we call Thanksmas, and it's in December. And it's the combination of the Christmas dinner and the Thanksgiving dinner.
Nice.
But as kids starting getting engaged and married and shit, they always want to, those Christmas days and Thanksgiving days are in high demand.
Yeah,
But,
you get so many different holidays. Yeah, we tend to do all three, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then New Year's. This year it's going to be a little bit different. So we have a bunch of friends over for Thanksgiving, and then Christmas we're talking about going to Hermiston to spend it with my mother-in-law. And then normally we would have all of our friends over for Christmas. Instead, we're just going to do friends Christmas and New Year's all on one day, and I'll smoke a couple of prime ribs. Lots of fondue. So yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. If you guys want to play the Saturday after Thanksgiving, I'm cool with that.
I'm cool.
I'm actually questionable for the one before because my brother's going to be in town, so I'm not sure.
Oh, the one, yeah, I know. Yeah, when I was younger, Wednesday night before Thanksgiving was a big
Well,
thing.
as far as I'm concerned, it's no hard feelings if you got to cancel, Brian. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, or
family and all that, whatever.
Yeah. So we'll play it by ear, and we'll see what's going on in the next couple of weeks. The holidays are always a difficult time. So
you might be interested to know that my birthday celebration coming up, I'm doing a Malachi kind of theme thing. I got me a skeleton for the Halloween stuff.
Nice.
Okay, now, and I'm gonna wash it, and then I'm gonna buy a bunch of choice cold cuts and cheeses and stuff, and I'm gonna clothe the skeleton in cheese and skin.
I love that idea.
And it's the skeleton charcuterie board. With like little olives for his eyes and some brushy like broccoli pieces to kind of cover that's like the fig leaf over the genitals.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. But that's
you can put in a couple of meatballs.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I'm serious though. I mean, we're gonna spend about $80 on different meats and cheeses, and we're really just gonna make a big skeleton.
I want to see pictures when you do that.
Hell yeah, I'll definitely show them to the group. But that's in December. That's like the 8th or the 9th, somewhere in there.
Nice.
It's on a Sunday. We do all our shit on Sundays because we respect this game.
Okay.
Unfortunately, nobody else but me and my family cares about my damn.
I'm just talking shit. It was fun. Thanks.
All right. Have a good night, you guys. I'll see you next week.
Bye.